Hello everyone, I'm Pete O'Farrell.
And I'm Jessica Kurgo. This is your July installment of Walpole News Today. Town Administrator Jim Johnson says that Walpole will move forward with the same efforts to mitigate side street traffic during stadium events, after recent measures taken during 2 Elton John concerts showed considerable promise. Here's Walpole Media's coverage during the first concert, followed by a discussion about the outcomes at the subsequent select board meeting. Chief Kelleher, could you describe what the traffic conditions were like in South Walpole last week?
So last week we saw a significant amount of congestion, not only on Washington Street, which is a major thoroughfare to the stadium with access from Water Street, but we also saw it in the neighborhoods. Pine Street, South Street, Clinton Ave, Eldor Drive all saw significant delays as a result of the increase in volume on Washington Street last week.
And can you describe what the department and town officials are doing to help alleviate that problem?
So we've assigned extra officers down here this evening, and we'll be in place for all the concerts going forward. And we put them all at different posts along Washington Street. So we essentially blocked off to local residents only. People can still get to their homes, so we won't restrict that access. But for people that are trying to go to the concert, the idea is to keep them on Washington Street. People were using GPS to access the stadium, and when they get jammed up in traffic, they would try to turn around, and when they get stuck in some of these neighborhoods, it really affected the quality of life for some of the people that live down here. People, they couldn't get to their homes, they couldn't get in and out of their driveways. So the objective here today is to manage traffic on Washington Street, but also to keep people out of the neighborhood so people can have an increased quality of life during these events.
That was the first time we've tried working with Waze, and it really worked very well, and it worked well the second night too. The police department really feels as though they feel very strongly that Water Street needs to remain open. I know people called for Water and Summer Street to be closed. They weren't closed because they're major thoroughfares through town. We're going to try to use the same plan for the game this week against the Giants, and then against the Panthers, and then for the two at the end of August too.
Later that meeting, the board voted to authorize $20 million in additional borrowing for the middle school building project in what Chairman O'Neill described as a risk mitigation play. After a discussion with Peter Fraser of Hilltop Securities, the board determined that current low interest rates outweigh future economic uncertainty.
Considerations before the board tonight is accelerate the borrowing or not, given the rate environment, or do a part of it and hold off the rest, all in an effort to reduce the risk to the town, the financial risk to the town, and hopefully save the town some money.
Seeing that inflation right now is running at almost 9%. And so that's not translating sort of one-to-one with respect to interest rates.
What we already know is already priced into what the interest rate is reflecting, and it's what we don't know. It's what's going to happen with the economy. Is inflation going to continue? Is the Fed raising interest rates going to have the effect that they're intending and going to tamp down on inflation? And it's what we don't know that's going to affect the future.
We need to acknowledge that this is a risk mitigation play, an interest rate risk mitigation play based on what we know today. And what we know today is we have a good rate and it's less than what we budgeted.
Motion to direct the town administrator, treasurer, collector, and the finance director to move forward with the $20 million borrowing for this month for the middle school project.
Seconded.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
4-0-0.
Recent calls to move town meeting back to Monday evening were heard. The upcoming fall town meeting has been penciled in for Monday, October 17th, beginning at 7:30 p.m. at the high school. Here's more from the board's discussion before the unanimous vote was taken.
Ultimately, it's your call what you'd like to do. I've heard people say it's great on Saturdays, but I've also heard people express concern that they're not able to get to the kids' sporting events.
I know at the Springtown meeting, some people did not realize it was Saturday until they received their mail packet. They were not aware that the date that they had just assumed it would have gone back to the Monday night.
They think that's, number one, that's the charter, and that's what it dictates that we do. And number two, it does seem to be a challenge with the sporting events and the scheduling conflicts.
It's probably time to move back to the Monday, Wednesday routine.
Walpole voters may want to double check their polling locations ahead of the September primary election. According to town clerk Liz Gaffey, newly designated precinct lines resulting from the 2020 federal census have caused some polling locations to shuffle.
The new rule for this one is this will be the first time we've had the 2A and the 5A and the 8A for sub-precincts. 8A is not active. It's never going to be active. You can't possibly move into 8A. So the polling locations on the warrant for precincts 1, 2, and now 2A will be at Old Post Road School. Precincts 3, 4, 5, and 5A will be at Blackburn Hall, and precincts 6, 7, 8, and 8A will be at Fisher School.
While there's still no clear answer on what will become of the Johnson Middle School building, affordable housing is now a possibility. Judy Conroy of the Walpole Housing Authority Board of Directors proposed an idea to convert the entire building into affordable housing. Given the broadening list of potential uses, the board discussed the idea to develop a task force aimed at determining a viable use for the building.
It's walkable to downtown, allowing the residents to walk to stores and services as required. It's also close to public transportation, either the train or the bus route. The existing wide hallways, tall ceilings, and large windows, which can allow for bright, open space concepts of living. It's really time to put affordable senior, veteran, and family living units at the front of the line.
Affordable housing is a viable option for the Johnson building and site. Having said that, I don't think we've really explored what the other uses are.
A subcommittee of feasibility studies, I do think those would be worthwhile to really kind of invest a little bit more, because I think Johnson, it's really unclear what can we do with that building and what is going to have the best home there.
Later that meeting, the school committee presented their condensed list of capital budget and ARPA requests.
We really need the $880,000 of system-wide technology that is on our capital budget list. That would be our number one item. We would be asking for $3 million for the schematic design cost related to a building project at Walpole High School. It would address the most pressing needs. The third priority is $3 million of contingency money for the middle school project if we need it. Then our fourth priority is one that needs some long-term planning, and it would be the construction costs related to a building project at Walpole High School. We're not looking for any money this year, but that is our next big priority. We still have a significant concern about enrollment at the preschool, but we cannot make this a priority above the others. We'll have to find some short-term solutions for now, and we are open to the use of Johnson in the future.
The technology, that does need to be replaced. That is a commitment we have to our students, that we've been utilizing that technology. And that is typically always on our capital budget.
Director of Community and Economic Development, Patrick Deschaines, sought feedback on 6 potential changes to the town's zoning bylaw at a July 21st planning board meeting. The suggestions ranged from alterations to commercial parking requirements to eliminating restrictions on residential accessory dwelling units. Deschaines said that he hopes the proposals will eventually make their way to town meeting. Board members offered constructive criticism and in some instances expressed verbal approval. Here's more from that meeting.
The approach I wanted to take was just looking in terms of more of a scaled back parking schedule, specifically for within the central business district.
You got to find out what the other side, if there are any issues right now, before you propose that.
Well, I am strongly in favor of doing that. I think reducing residential parking requirements for downtown is really essential for facilitating more housing.
I felt that some of the requirements that were being asked were pretty extensive in a way that almost prohibited the use from happening at all.
But the 50-foot was changed by us about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Because we didn't want to look like Norwood.
There you go.
We didn't want to pave right up to Route 1.
That 2-family detached dwellings currently is a special permit. Just thought the use in general made more sense as by right.
Developers see special permits like, it's just a big headache, it's costly, they need lawyers.
These are very sensible ways to increase housing, reduce the cost of new housing.
The Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners discussed a recent update to Walpole's non-essential water use, compelled by the town's significant drought status. According to the current policy, odd-numbered properties are allowed to use water sprinklers on Mondays, while even-numbered properties are allowed to do so on Thursdays, with no non-essential water use permitted between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Here's more from the board's July 25th meeting.
February through June, we were pumping out more water than we historically had in the past, at least the last 3 years, and now, of course, things have changed.
I don't think we want to get into a situation where it changes every week, because if we can't keep track of what the policy is, we can't expect the consumers to.
Members of the Master Plan Steering Committee agreed that the town of Walpole should maintain and improve its current qualities rather than focus on building new. During a recent meeting, the committee reviewed a slate of recommendations put forth by the town's third-party consulting firm, Barrett Planning Group. Here's more of what committee members had to say.
I think what I've seen in the meetings and from the people is that maybe a more focus on what we do have, and rather than starting new endeavors, it would probably be best to fully utilize what we have because we have so much.
But they all seem to agree that that area was fantastic, had a lot to offer, and could be improved, but shouldn't necessarily be built up.
The natural resources of the town forest and Adams Farm and some of these properties, I think it's just important to acknowledge that we want to preserve and maintain.
I think what we want to do right now is get the rest of the recommendations developed, because that's really the heart of the plan.
The Walpole Health Department is partnering with the organization Big Brothers Big Sisters to hold an ongoing town-wide collection for families in need. Public Health Director Melissa Ranieri and Deputy Health Agent Megan Leary had a conversation with two Big Brother Big Sister representatives to discuss the collection process and how the program benefits both the organization and the taxpayers.
Hi all, so I am Melissa Ranieri and I am the health director here in the town of Walpole. Today I have with me Megan Leary, our deputy health agent, and I have Dave and Steve from Big Brother Big Sister, and we are coming to you today to introduce a new curbside program that we're offering through Big Brother and Big Sister. So I'd like to just take the opportunity first to just kind of give a narrative on the program, Steve, if you don't mind, how it came to head, and obviously from there we can kind of go in a little bit more depth with collection and procedure for those residents that are interested.
Right. Well, thanks for having us, first of all.
Thanks for coming.
This Big Brother Big Sister has been picking up in Walpole once a month at people's residence for about 26 years now. So obviously we wanted to expand the program, and in doing so, come to the town and create a program that not only generates revenue for Big Brother Big Sister, but can generate a little bit of revenue for the town of Walpole and help every town comply with the upcoming legislations in November about diverting hundreds of millions of pounds of textiles out of the general waste stream to us, hopefully. We don't take furniture, unfortunately. Can't take white goods or electronics, but all kinds of housewares, kitchenware, clothing and shoes, obviously, knickknacks, CDs and DVDs, which is really important these days, and record albums, and even musical instruments we can take.
And how can residents arrange for this pickup?
They could do so by going online, bbpsfoundation.org. There'll be a link for them to schedule a pickup. They could also call us at 508-466-4592 and arrange a pickup that way. Or they can send an email to steve@cmrkne.com if they have any questions.
There will be a textile ban come November 1st, so having this resource available to our residents, we think will be super helpful in providing them another opportunity to properly dispose of these items.
Construction on the new middle school building began in early July. The Middle School Building Committee heard an update on the project at their recent meeting.
So Fontaine mobilized on site July 11th, and they got right into the retaining wall at the existing Bard School. So they had cut the brick on either side of the retaining wall, removed the long side of the retaining wall, and then shortened the courtyard. The trees were cleared to the limit of work, which included widening the Washington Street entrance.
How and where will students enter the building this fall?
The entrances are not changed. What will happen is that right here, that in front of the existing gymnasium, or right around this area, there will be a new drop-off loop created, and then a walkway from here will be connecting to the existing front door.
The Walpole Farmers Market continues each Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. through October 22nd. Walpole News contributor Nirjara Akol visited Springbrook Park during a recent market to speak with several vendors. Here's more.
The market houses a variety of unique vendors, each bringing something different to the table. The vendors agree that the strong sense of community allows them to support one another, continuing to make the market a welcoming space.
My name is Alice Siegel, and I sell mandala stones, beach stones. They're hand-painted beach stones, and I find them at different beaches around Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And I paint with acrylic paints, and each one is a different design.
My name is Shilpa Pandey, and I'm the owner of Melt in Your Mouth. And I sell all natural cakes and cupcakes, and at the farmer's market I also sell coffee cakes and cupcakes.
I love all the vendors are wonderful and talented people, and they offer a lot of interesting items.
I think we just have a strong community, and I think the sense of all of us showing up every week shows like some dedication, and I think the customers really see that, and so they're dependent on us as we're dependent on them.
The market is open every Saturday from 9 to 1 until October 22nd. Be sure to stop by and experience the lively atmosphere for yourself. Reporting for Walpole News Today, I'm Nirjira Akole.
Walpole Public Library sponsors a variety of enrichment programs for children of all ages. Walpole News contributor Shina Jane spoke with children's programmer Nicole Cataloni and a young adult librarian Elizabeth Doherty for more information.
The Walpole Public Library has been open since 2010, and despite the notion that a library only houses books or is just a quiet place to study, Nikki Cataloni and Elizabeth Doherty do their best to dissolve such misconceptions and show that the library is much, much more.
I think of the library as more of a building that just encompasses, learning as a community. So, yes, a lot of learning is done through books, but learning is done very much through interaction.
Because it is a space where anybody in the community can come, can find things that they're interested in, whether it's books or movies or music.
The kids and teen programs have been a big hit at the library, with a wide selection ranging from Alpha Kids all the way to Adulting 101.
So Alpha Kids was a program that was created with, like a preschooler kind of age group in mind. And it was a couple of different activities that were spread out through the room each week that was based on the letter of the week. Messy Mondays was another big hit. Sensory play is really important for young kids. And again, it's that hands-on learning that is so important for not just kids, but for, many learners.
During the summer, I've been having a GSA drop-in on Mondays just to take the place of the GSA drop-ins that happen at the middle schools and the high school.
So the Teen Advisory Board was created, for the teens to really be able to see themselves reflected here at the library and to have a say in what happens in the library. This is, their community, and to give them leadership skills. It's great that people can come and see programming that is reflective of themselves, and I think that has been very welcoming for a lot of families.
Reporting for Walpole News Today, I'm Shina Jane.
Walpole Media Corporation is still seeking candidates for the organization's board of directors. The election is set to be held in September, and the 2-year term begins in October. Anyone interested in running for a position should email info@walpolemedia.tv to learn more.
That concludes our show. More on all of these stories can be found on our YouTube channel. For Walpole News Today, I'm Jessica Kurgo.
And I'm Pete O'Farrell. We'll see you next time.